Hey everybody, welcome to the First City Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Whited, owner of First City Records in downtown Marietta, 166 Front Street to be exact. Got a great show for you all this week. We got the folks who are putting on the Back Home Festival in New Martinsville. It's coming up at the end of June. We're going to start promoting with them from now until then, so people in the Mid-Ohio Valley know what's up and who's going to be performing and the best places to camp, what artists are playing on what days, and just kind of a backstory on what the Back Home Fest is, what it means to the people that are putting it on. And I get to sit down and chat with one of the people that helped put on the show, kind of the voice of you, if you will, of the Back Home Festival, my friend, Mr. Josh Weekly, fellow DJ up in his neck of the woods at Chiselfinger Entertainment. Also on the show today is Miss Ananga Martin. Up-and-coming singer-songwriter, just released her first album on vinyl and CD with the record label is Nail City Records. If you recognize that name, it's because there is a record store called Nail City Records located in Wheeling, West Virginia. Wonderful people, husband and wife duo. Have a great store, great social media presence. Definitely, if you're in the Wheeling area, check out the store. And Miss Ananga is going to making her way down to First City Records for an intimate in-store performance, autograph session, and we'll be doing some giveaways and a listening party to her new album put out on that Nail City record label that they're getting going. So that's pretty exciting. A few things happening around town we're going to talk about. This will be the last official week if you want to enter our First City Records first annual art contest. The info is in a pinned post on the Facebook page, First City Records on Facebook. Basically, I'm giving away $100 and your design will be either a shirt or a sticker. If you have a design that is music related, record related, or First City Records related, create it. Digital content, please. Email your high quality image to me at firstcityrecordstore@gmail.com. We've extended the deadline to Wednesday, June the 5th. So hopefully we get a few more entries. We've had several, hoping to get a few more, and been very impressed with the amount of talent and the amount of entries that we've received. This is great for our first year. But yeah, as a lover of art and, of course, the arts in general, I'm happy to do this, and I think it's a great idea to kind of expand into the world of art as well as arts and music and entertainment and whatnot. So if you're an artist looking for information on this, go to the First City Records store page. There is a pinned post about the art contest. Jump in and get a part of that. So Miss Ananga Martin is our next in-store event. It is Sunday, June the 2nd, this coming Sunday, a week from the day that I'm recording this, but this coming Sunday, June the 2nd at 2 p.m., she'll be in the store for about an hour and a half. Like I said, we're going to do the listening session of the album on vinyl. Then she'll have a few song performance, answer some questions, and then we'll have an autograph signing before we close out the day. We're open on Sundays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. After that, we got First Friday coming up. It is a week into the month for our First Friday. It's June the 7th, and we're lucky to have Gypsy River coming back to First City Records for First Friday, and this time we have them for 3 hours. I believe it's 6 to 9, or is it 5 to 8? I'm pretty sure it's 6 to 9. I'll have to get with the band, but yeah, 3 hours of Gypsy River, one of the best, if you like Fleetwood Mac. In that vein, is a husband and wife duo. They're wonderful customers, great people, and I'm happy to have them coming back to the store. One more last little thing. Next week's show is going to be a good one. We've got the rock band Firehouse from the 90s. If you remember big hair and hard rock, Firehouse is one of those bands in that era. They're playing at the People's Bank Theater on August the 9th. And I'm going to be sitting down with, I'm not sure if it's the whole band or if it's just certain members, but we're going to be talking about the loss of their frontman recently and the addition of a new frontman who was an American Idol contestant, much younger gentleman. Interested to find out how that's going for them and learn about their tour and what's been going on with them over the years. And also, I'm very, very excited that my buddy and local musician and coming back to First City Records very soon, Mr. Jake Dunn of Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds will be coming over to the studio for an interview. We're going to talk about the Great Race performance coming up at First City Records, and he's going to grace us with a couple songs a la acoustic in performance studio. I look forward to sitting down with Jake and talking about that, upcoming fatherhood that he's going through, and just checking in and seeing what's up with him in his life and where he's at. And it's the summer of music. They seem to be playing lots of shows. I'm looking forward to hearing some stories about that. So enough rambling by me, guys. We're going to go jump into our interview with the fantastic, whimsical Miss Ananga Martin. All right, and that was our lead-in track, Violet, from the brand new album Santa Ana by Ananga Martin. Let's welcome Miss Ananga into the studio. Thank you very much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. Hello.
Hi. Okay, so you are in West Virginia now, but where are you from originally?
I'm from Riverside, California, originally. Southern California, born and raised, and I transplanted to Appalachia when I was about 19.
Very, very nice. And do you prefer California or West Virginia for your creativity and for songwriting?
Oh, they both feed me equally. Every time that I'm back home in California, I feel totally at home and my body feels at home. And same thing when I'm here in Appalachia, I feel that also. So equal amounts.
Well, that's awesome. So your new album is put out by Nail City Records, which I believe you're the first or one of their first as their new venture into recording. It's listed as 100% analog, recorded to analog to tape. So what was the recording process like for the new album Santa Ana? Were you all in the same room? Was it like all recorded around one big mic, or is it recorded separately? Just fill us in on a little bit about your recording process.
Well, the recording process was pretty much the same as my first album, Moonlight and Fire, which came out in 2019. And it's all captured live, totally live. So we're all sitting in a circle. It's very intimate. Everybody's playing kind of quietly. And it's pretty much a live performance. And that's how we do it. We usually get things in 1 or 2 takes. And then if anything's tracked in, for example, like pump organ, it's only tracked in because we didn't have enough hands, on deck. But yeah, it's all live. And then, yeah, with Santa Ana, it was all analog recorded to tape by Jay Demko in his home studio. And yeah, I think you can hear a difference when it's recorded to tape.
I very much liked how raw and it really felt like when I was listening to the vinyl, it really felt like it was done in all the same room, and it felt like that was being done in front of me, like it was a live performance. So I just kind of wanted to clear that up, that it definitely has that live feel to it. So that's really awesome.
Good. I'm glad that comes across.
Yeah, it did very much, and I really enjoy the album. There's several songs on there that I enjoy. My favorite being that one, Violet. What is your
Hmm.
songwriting process like to create the lyrics for these songs?
Well, I'll be really honest with you. I don't really like the word process
Okay.
at all. It just because I don't. To me, it kind of takes the mystery out of it, and um, songwriting to me is a very mystical experience. I don't sit at a desk and try to write a song or anything. I wait for things to come through. I just honor that when it happens, and I really try hard not to force anything. So I don't really have a process. I'm inspired by my surroundings. You can probably hear I'm outside in the, with the birds and in this beautiful little spot where I live, and I dream a lot. So a lot of my songs come directly from dreams. I always kind of wake up and record my dreams right away, write them down. So yeah, that's I guess my process.
You
Is I
know,
wait for things to come. I honor them. I try to keep a keen ear and an open heart, and really give thanks for the muse when the muse inspires.
well, it's nice to know somebody else that doesn't have an actual process when they come to when it comes to writing. So for me, I did this writing and songwriting for about 15 years before I kind of I hit the brick wall. I had kids, and then
Yeah.
everything that was starting to come out was just so cheesy and schmaltzy that I realized that I may not be done forever, but I've definitely hit a part in my life where I need to focus on the family and less about trying to create music about my life. So,
Right.
but I would also do the same thing. I would either have a voice memo on my phone, pen and paper by the bed,
Mhm.
whatever it would take
Yeah.
to get those words down. And then what I would do is I would just feel the vibe and then hit record, start playing whatever I'm feeling, and then record for sometimes 15 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour, and then just kind of pick
Mm.
and choose my favorite parts, and then like build it from there. So
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
if that's considered a process, loosey goosey, like you said, not really going in. I didn't, sometimes I would write the most sad songs when I was the happiest, and the happiest songs when I'm the most sad.
Mm.
I never go in thinking I'm in a bad mood. I'm going to write a mean song right now. That never happens.
Right.
So I'm right
Right.
there with you. But which one?
Yeah.
If you had to pick your favorite song on the new album, which one would you pick?
That's real. Well, they're all like everything's really personal, so it's hard to choose. But Hippocrene is a song I like to feel, and Turning Leaves is kind of a beautiful prayer about being gentle in your communication or my communication because I'm pretty fiery, can be a little bit rough, so just about softening myself. Um, and yeah, Baptem. It's really important to me because that's all true stories, of my father and memories, revisiting, my childhood and healing some of that stuff up, childhood stuff. And Santa Ana, of course, I think is a really important song. I wrote that a while ago. I mean, this was recorded in July of 2022, and it took quite some time for it to be released on vinyl. But I wrote that song in 2021, and I have to acknowledge that water is really important to me. And when I'm in water, I usually get a song. And so that song came, from a soak in the bathtub, and it just kind of like came through. And I think it's a really important that it came out right now because, Santa Ana. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you're talking about the city of Santa Ana, but I'm not from Santa Ana. I haven't spent much time there, but I did grow up with the Santa Ana winds, and I grew up the Santa Ana River, well, like a trickle, Southern California trickle. I grew up near that river, Santa Ana Mountains, and but Santa Ana was um, Saint Anne, the grandmother of Jesus, Mary's mother. And I didn't grow up with any religion or anything, so Um, uh, so it's kind of interesting how different things like that come through for me. But the significance of like a grandmother, an elder grandmother, and especially like right now, a grandmother who is from like the dust of Palestine. It just felt very, very timely. So that's like a really important one for me because I feel like we need to be listening to the indigenous elder grandmothers more for the
I
benefit of all.
I appreciate you going into so much detail with that. That's way more in depth of an answer than I would have ever imagined. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Sorry.
Um,
I hope that's
well,
okay.
no, no. Again, I think it's wonderful. On the hype sticker of the vinyl, they give some suggestions that if you like so and so, you should like they should like this album. They listed
Yeah.
bands like Mazzy Star. I would assume that's mostly based off of the vocal styling, maybe the pitch in the vocals. Um, I'm hearing a lot of an Australian singer songwriter named Gabrielle Cohen. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not,
Hmm.
but she's wonderful.
No, I'm not.
And my personal favorite female singer songwriter is Jenny Lewis. She was in the band Rilo Kiley for many years, but I'm
Hmm.
hearing a lot of similar tones and the honesty
Hmm.
in the lyrics. I always call her my spirit animal when I'm talking about
Oh, nice.
a female singer songwriter. That if I was
Yeah.
still writing, she's like the one for me. That she's so honest in her lyrics, and I'm noticing that
Yeah.
with your stuff as well. Who are some of your influences as you were growing up, as you were getting into music and becoming your own creator?
Oh, that's it's well, I just want to say something too about the hype sticker. It's really funny. I've heard Mazzy Star, and I had them also add Marie Sue because I have a tremendous amount of respect for Marie Sue, singer songwriter, and everything that she stands for. She really inspires me. But I hadn't heard anyone else on that list. It's
Neither had
okay.
I.
Yeah, okay, so we're in the same boat. So I said, please put Marie Sue on there because that's somebody that I listen to and am inspired by. And I would say my very first musical memory, and it's funny because I just wrote a song a couple days ago that addressed this in a roundabout way, was Buddy Holly 8 tracks in my dad's car back in the day where you could sit on your father's lap and he would let you drive.
Wow.
And so Buddy Holly was like, I was thinking like, what was my first musical experience? It was Death of Buddy Holly, and then of course I got really into, like when I was like 10 or 11, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, all that. Then I got really into Grateful Dead, and I went to a bunch of Dead shows. I was a young person, 14, 15, going to Dead shows. And then I graduated into, I cleaned up my act by that time. By the time I was 16, I was deep into spiritual seeking. Like I said, I didn't grow up with any religion or anything, which gave me like a very clean slate. So I was definitely a spiritual explorer, and I found myself surrounded by Rasta people, and I got very, very into roots reggae, especially like roots reggae trios of the 70s, and that's where my that's like my deepest inspiration, and that's what I listen to most of the time now. Like that never left. So that's my biggest influence. Even though I don't play reggae music, that's where I find my solace musically is in roots reggae.
If you had to put your music into a box, which I hate to do,
Ooh, yeah,
because it's, but when as a record store owner, I have to put it on a shelf. If I had to
yeah,
put your album on a
yeah.
shelf, what shelf would I put your record under?
Well, I guess it would have to be folk, but I don't think that completely fits. But I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
Americana, but Americana screams country,
I
and country is definitely not
I
what I
don't
hear.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know about like Americana really. Like that's not a genre that I listen to, so
Yeah.
I'm not real familiar with the sound of it. When I think Americana, I think like Brandy Carlisle, which I've only heard like a couple.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible. It's like I'm just listening to reggae, but like I just I like what I like. You know what I mean? And I like music that makes me feel good and connected, and that's where you know that's where I rest.
There's another
But
band I
yeah, I
want to
don't know.
recommend to you. They're called Fort Vine. They're also
Mm-hmm.
they're a husband and wife duo, and they live in a
Oh,
van.
nice.
They travel the country in a van or the world, living a very earthy existence, very spiritual. The band
Yeah,
Fort Vine. I really truly think that
I will
you
look
would
that
find
up.
enjoyment with them because they seem like they're on the like-minded path of finding that
Yeah,
spiritual journey that they're on right now as a
yeah.
husband and wife pair, and they have amazing
Mm.
harmonies. But
Oh, nice.
I always like to end
Um,
interviews with a question. Do you remember the
okay.
very first album that you went to a store and purchased when you were young?
Actually, yes, I do.
Okay.
It was a 45 of Prince. It was at Gemco. I had a Fisher Price turntable that lasted me all the way to middle school. I mean, like this thing was amazing. Um, and the B side of the 45 had Erotic City, and my mom didn't know that. I had the song Erotic City, and I didn't, and she didn't know that, but I knew about the song from a babysitter. And so I gathered all my friends in the room and we were listening to it. And of course, it's like such a naughty Prince song. Like it's so naughty, you know? And so that one, I mean, she finally found it and got rid of it. Unfortunately, I still would love to have that. But I think that was the first that like I purchased, but also I I'm remembering just a little bit before that something also that a young person shouldn't be listening to, but my friend across the street, Krista, who's actually the girl that drowned in the song Bath 10 that my dad saved.
Oh,
Um, she and I went to a yard sale and we put all our pennies together and we bought Steve Martin Wild and Crazy Guy.
oh
And we
yeah.
just thought that was hilarious. We just listened to that over and over on that little Fisher Price turntable.
So before we wrap things up, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about or let people know about? I know you have a trip to California planned. Do you have shows upcoming that you want to promote?
I have like a handful of um, all lunchtime shows coming up in the next month in the Wheeling area. If you check out my Instagram or Facebook, they're listed on there. That's where I post my shows. I'm playing at the Back Home Festival in New Martinsville in the Lincoln Theater on Sunday at noon, and that's the last weekend of June.
Yeah, I'm actually
And this is
interviewing the
like,
guys from the Back Home Festival around 3:30
oh,
today.
nice.
They're going to be on the same
Oh, sweet.
podcast as you.
Wonderful. Oh, good. I'm in good company. And another thing I wanted to say about like musical influences is that I'm a real late bloomer when it comes to like actually playing songs in front of people. That started about 5 years ago. I'm 48. So that started even I was like 42, 43. I used to wear my young son on my back. And I had friends that were, a friend that was a musician was like, you should play your songs. I always wrote and never played them for anyone. He really brought me out of my shell. And I want to say that I'm really blessed to be surrounded by really great musicians. And those people are my biggest influences. Adrian Niles is one. He's my favorite songwriter. He's a local musician here. Um, Sunny Leilani, that is my friend. She has a beautiful album out. And the late, great Michael Iafrate, my friend who also is a big, he pushed me to share songs. He passed away, but he was also, still is one of my biggest influences. So I encourage everybody to go listen to those folks.
All right. And on that, we will see you at First City Records on next Sunday or this coming Sunday,
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yes.
June the 2nd at 2 p.m. We're going to do a listening party for the new album and maybe a little Q&A, sign some things for anybody that shows up. And get a little
Sure.
small, intimate performance of a few of your
Nope.
you choose personal favorites
Yeah.
off either album, what have you. I'm looking forward to
All
meeting you in
right.
person, and thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Thank
taking a
you.
few minutes to talk to us and get to know you a little bit
Yeah.
before your performance. And best of luck in your future. I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks. I'll see you on Sunday.
we'll see
All
you
right.
then.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Miss Ananga Martin. She'll be at the store Sunday, June the 2nd, 2 p.m. for that intimate performance, autograph session, and listening party of her new album. Hope you all can make it down. I'll have some chairs, some free beverages for you, some water, some sodas, and come and enjoy the day with us at First City Records, 166 Front Street in downtown Marietta. All right. Let's sit down with the folks from Back Home Fest, Back Home Festival, located in New Martinsville, West Virginia. Hope you guys enjoy this interview, get a lot of information about the history of this festival, what it means, and a list of the artists. I know my biggest thrill is getting to see Keller Williams again. I haven't seen him in many years, and he is an absolute delight. I love Keller Williams. But stick around, listen to the rest of the show, and we'll be back later. Enjoy the interview with the folks from the Back Home Festival. All right, guys, welcome back into the studio. We are here with Robbie Parsons, the executive director of the CVB in Wetzel County, and Mr. Josh Weekly, also known as the voice behind the Back Home Festival. We're here to talk about the Back Home Festival coming up on June 28th, 29th, and 30th in New Martinsville, West Virginia, just about an hour up the road from us here in Marietta. So welcome into the podcast, guys, and let's just talk a little bit about the history of how the Back Home Festival came to be.
We back in 2017, well, let me back up one more year, actually. In 2016, we had 4th of July celebration where we had fireworks and a couple things. And part of my job as the executive director of the CVB is to draw tourism into New Martinsville. So that 4th of July celebration kind of gave me the idea that maybe we should have a music festival, which is something I always enjoyed going to myself, big music festivals. And that's kind of where the idea was born. We started, we started kind of small that first year. We had regional acts mostly. But we saw the success of that first year, and it's morphed into what it is now, where we've had multiple Grammy winners. We've got some Rock and Roll Hall of Famers coming in this year, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Robbie for a long time, and even back in the 90s, before the turn of the century, we'd dream about being able to put on a music festival. And, if we ever won the Powerball, who we'd bring to New Martinsville. Well, it turns out that once we got old enough and involved enough in our community, we ended up in situations where we can try to help make things like this happen. And these are some of my favorite bands out there. And every year it seems like there's a new favorite band I pick up along the way. So I'm just excited to have this happening right here in downtown New Martinsville. And this will be the 7th year for it. So I never would have dreamed this that would happen in our town, but we want everybody to come. The more people, the merrier. And you're guaranteed to have something happen over the weekend that you're going to enjoy.
Josh, I gotta say that being a friend of yours on Facebook and in real life, but last year and actually every year prior, your social media posts during the Back Home Festival and seeing how proud you are of not only New Martinsville and being from Wetzel County, but just that you're a part of this event and that you're getting to meet these people and present them on the stage to the city. And all of the tourists that come to this event. Try to explain in words to our listeners how it really feels to be the voice of a festival of some of your favorite musicians and actually getting like how surreal it must feel to be surrounded by them during this weekend.
Sure. Most of the artists have always been very kind, and with our festival being kind of a Mayberry town and a laid back vibe, they've always been very gracious with working with me. And and realizing that we're trying to do something big here, and they try to accommodate us with that, and I'd be a liar if I told you that I didn't get nervous every year. Every year it's a nerve-wracking thing to think you're going to go up on stage in front of 5 to 10,000 people and talk, and but by the time it gets going and you get up there on stage and you realize where you're at, it always starts to go. And I mean, I've met David Grisman, one of the best mandolinists in the world. Met Del McCurry. I've met Billy Strings. The list goes on and on and on. Sam Bush. We have some of the biggest bluegrass pickers in the world stopping in New Martinsville, and I get the opportunity to say hi to them, ask them how they're doing, anything I can do for them, and then I get to bring them up on stage. It's been an incredible experience, and I'm just one little part of the whole thing. So many people in this town step up to do what they can do, what talents they have, they bring to the stage with them, and a lot of people working behind the scenes that don't get any kind of credit up on stage. That without all these people coming together in our town, this wouldn't happen.
That's wonderful that you're including all of them. And I heard you say that in years past, you've had anywhere between 5 and 10,000 people. Assuming that trend that will continue to trend, especially as you bring in these amazing acts, especially this year, you have some real heavy hitters. Tell us about how people get in and out. Is there room to move around? Because some people, the whole claustrophobic thing. Is it like a Nelsonville Music Festival where there's plenty of space to really stretch your legs? And how do you guys work that as far as crowd control and getting people in and out safely?
It hasn't been a concern really. Last year we had gates put up. We wanted to have a little bit better control on movement, making sure to keep everybody in the festival safe. It's usually pretty calm, cool, collected. If you've ever been on Main Street in New Martinsville, they shut down the entire Main Street, so that's all open to people coming to the festival. People camping for free out at the marina. It's just a short walk down to the festival grounds. Plenty of porta johns and things like that, so you don't have to worry about real long lines for these kind of things and being real dirty. Everything's tip top. Every year I have 3 kids, oldest being 11, youngest being 6, and I let them run around with their buddies down there barefoot. There's never been a problem. Everybody kind of looks out for everybody else, and hats off to our local police, because they've been very gracious and accommodating with the kind of crowds that come in. Yeah. It's a very much a golden rule type situation. They care about everyone's safety and making sure everybody has a good time. So anybody coming to our festival, I'll let you know, the festival grounds is right next to the city police department, and those police officers step up every year to ensure everybody's safety and good times. So hats off to them.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about camping. You had mentioned there is free camping available down by the marina. Is there hotel lodging places nearby? And let's talk RV spaces for people to pull in if they're in for the long haul for the whole 3-day festival for the weekend.
Yeah, we've got hotels in town. We've got the Microtel, the Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn is sold out for that weekend. We've got the Plaza Inn, Travelers Inn, the Martinsville Inn. As far as the RVs go, they camp out at the 4-H grounds, and we run shuttles back and forth throughout the day for those.
It's about 2 miles out from the stage, but there are constant shuttles going to all the hotels and out there to the 4-H grounds for the campers. And by all means, campers love it out there because there's a shower house and there's water, electricity, and things like that. But if you feel like the marina is too cramped for you or whatever like that, I'm sure you could put a tent out there too. It's just a matter of there is a cost associated with those grounds, because it's not part of our thing. And anytime anybody camps out there, there's a cost to that.
Oh yeah, I mean electric, water. I mean they have to cover their costs as well. So that totally makes sense.
And it's all pretty reasonable. I'm not sure what the price is off the top of my head, but backhomefestival.com has all those answers. And the marina is just a short walk from the stage. It's always filled each year. And it's patrolled by our local police on a regular basis to make sure nobody's out of hand. And the big thing, the drawback of the marina is the lack of any kind of shower house there. But another shout out to a local organization, the Martinsville Parks and Recreation, each year open up the Lewis Wetzel pool. I think at 11 o'clock in the morning on that Saturday and Sunday, I think too. But they have shower houses there, and I think that they make everything at the pool and mini golf and all those kind of things only $1, so you can run up there and get cleaned up if you want to.
As a person who sweats a lot, and I guarantee that there's going to be a lot of very appreciative people that they're going to be able to get cleaned up between these hot summer days in June for the festival. So we've kind of taken some housekeeping stuff, talked about some of the how people get in and out, things like that. Now let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's talk about the acts that you guys have for this year, because looking at the flyer, even the smaller names at the bottom, there's a lot of them that I know, that I love, but those headliners, guys, hats off to you guys for bringing these people here. I really, really, really hope we get a strong presence from the rest of the Mid-Ohio Valley out for this festival, because you guys have really outdone yourselves. Go ahead and take it away. Robbie, Josh, let's talk a little bit about the music this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. Actually, out of all the years that we've been doing this, I'm probably most excited about this lineup. And Josh will tell you, I spend months getting this lineup together. I'll have Post-it notes everywhere with prices and names, and but this year I'm over the moon about what we've got this year. I mean, we've got the Whalers coming in, Big Brother and the Holding Company, which I'm just super excited about that.
Wow.
We've got Keller's Grateful Grass, Sierra Hall. List just goes on and on. Dark Side of the Rainbow, of course.
Let's talk about Dark Side of the Rainbow. I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. I don't know what that means. What kind of tribute act is that, as far as like what kind of performance is it?
When you play Dark Side of the Moon with the Wizard of Oz, it lines up perfectly. The lyrics and stuff mess with what's going on screen with the Wizard of Oz. A lot of times you'll see, I've seen a couple places that have played it, and they hit play on Dark Side of the Moon, and then the movie starts. So this is a little bit different. This is with a live band that'll be perfectly in sync with the movie, which if it's happened anywhere else, I'm not familiar with it, but
that is so cool.
I know
I am even more excited now that I know what it is. That is so cool. We were actually just watching Wizard of Oz last night with the kids.
Yeah, all I know is it's going to happen here on the 29th of June, and we couldn't be, we're pretty excited about that show.
That has to be a nighttime thing. That has to be a nighttime thing, right?
Yeah, that is a late night show at the Lincoln Theater.
Now you're talking Keller's Grateful Grass. Not knowing what that is, but I'm a huge fan of Keller Williams. I assume that that's the Keller that we're talking about. And when I see Grateful spelled that way, I assume that maybe members of the Grateful Dead are part of that act.
No, it's just Keller doing bluegrass renditions of Grateful Dead songs.
I've seen Keller 3 times. He is one of my all-time favorites to see live.
He'll be with a band called the Hillbenders for this show, so that should be a lot of fun.
Look up Grateful Grass on YouTube. There's some shows. I saw one up in PA somewhere, Pennsylvania. There was a show a couple years back, and obviously it'll be a different set and different things will happen. But absolutely, that Saturday night is stacked at the back home this year. We got 9 o'clock with Keller's Grateful Grass, and then Big Brother and the Holding Company before that. And I mean, these were guys that were, in California at the height of psychedelia in the late 60s. And they're still original members in that band, and they're still laying it down. And I've heard their female vocalist is outstanding. I can't wait to see that. And I can't wait for my daughter to see that. I think she'll really like that.
Yeah, and I don't want to tell you I'm most excited about any of the acts, but I was actually on the phone the other day with the drummer for Big Brother and the Holding Company, and I was telling him that growing up, Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company, they got a lot of play on my CD player as a teenager in the 90s. And the very first song, I'm a musician myself, and the very first song that I really studied guitar, lead guitar on, was actually one of their songs, which was "Summertime," and he got a pretty big kick out of that. So I'm just, I grew up on that stuff, and I'm over the moon that we got those guys.
It seems like looking down at the other acts, I am so impressed and happy that you guys are willing to do not only local but regional touring acts and regional acts from the area. I don't want to poo poo on places, but Parkersburg, they do a lot of the tribute acts when they bring in music, and they don't really utilize the local talent that we actually have around here. And to get to see Rumpke Mountain Boys and one of my personal favorites, Oyo, and I'm having that Ananga Martin. She's going to be in my store, and she's going to be back up at the Back Home Festival as well. It's just a breath of fresh air knowing that a lot of these people are going to get that much exposure in our local area. So kudos and hats off to you guys for including all the regional and local talent as well.
Being a musician myself and being in the scene for as many years as I have, I always try to include the acts that are certainly worthy, because we've got a lot of those. Bucket of Puppies is another one. Ezra Hamilton, he's fantastic. Of course, the Davison Brothers Band.
They've been around forever.
The list goes on and on. But yeah, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So we also had a competition over the course of this past winter, where the winner of that competition got a spot at the Back Home Festival. And through many, many rounds of that, a guy by the name of Justin Boer came out on top, and he'll be performing as well. So there's a lot of really great talent in this valley.
Unquestionably, that is correct. And so at the Back Home Festival, it's not just about the music. There is other things to look at. There's other things to do. There's other things happening. Let's talk a little bit about what else is going on besides the music when you need to get a break or maybe find some air. Fill us in on what other things are happening during that time, and what other, if you're a tourist from out of town, what other things in New Martinsville can draw you in to kind of get you some air and get a break downtown.
Well, we've got plenty of wonderful shops down here. Of course, we've got the world's famous Quinette Sport Restaurant, and another shop down here that people like to eat at would be Baristas, and there's some. We've got a really nice bookstore down here. That's just local stuff. Got an ice cream shop. But as far as the festival goes, we're having hot air balloon rides this year, which is a new thing for us. And there'll be workshops. There'll be hula hoop workshops, drum workshops. It really is just a family-friendly event.
Josh, talking about those hot air balloons, I can't wait to get on the hot air balloon. It's I'm sure I share this with other people, but I have a little bit of a phobia of hot air balloons, and I plan on conquering that this summer. They're going to be there Friday evening and Saturday. There's no advance tickets for that, so make sure if you want to ride that hot air balloon, I believe it's $25 a ride, and I can't wait for that. It's just going to be incredible to be able to see our little quaint river town from the air like that. It's a unique opportunity.
I'm going to leave that up to you, dude. I am way too scared of heights, and I'm scared of closed-in places. I don't know. I just don't know. I've done like lighthouses, and even those are just too much for me, I think. So I'm going to leave it up to you, and I hope you have a great time. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that take part in that. And you said it was like $25 or something per person to go up in the balloon. Yes. Are you going to have vendors? Is there going to be like vendors, food, any food trucks or anything like that?
We have all kinds of vendors. As a matter of fact, our vendor applications today was the last day to turn them in. But we'll have vendors up and down Main Street. Last count I had was about 90. So yeah, and I forgot to mention too that we have fireworks Sunday night after that. That always concludes our festival. So,
and talking about those vendors too, especially the non-food booths. Now the food booths are wonderful. We always have a lot of different variety of foods available. But what I really like about the Back Home Festival is the vendors are usually local artisans, local artists that are making artwork, tie-dyes, jewelry, carvings, on and on down the line. Just it's not your average, flea market wear. These are things that have been carefully made by local artists a lot of times, and it's certainly worth walking around. And even if you don't buy something, just to take a look at some of these artworks that are available on Main Street.
All right, so we've pretty much covered most things that I could think of off the top of my head. So let's talk a little bit off the cuff here. Josh, name 2 or 3 bands over the last 7 years that were like bucket list bands that you guys have had up there at the Back Home Festival that that really impressed you, or bands that like really stood out that you maybe discovered that day.
Well, May 28th is today's date that we're recording this this podcast, and it was just announced today that Billy Strings is releasing a 2 LP record coming out in July. And I didn't know who Billy Strings was when he was here the first year. I knew enough that he was a good guitar player. That's what I knew. And, you know, Billy Strings takes the stage. And even that year, he came out early and played electric guitar on Further On Up the Road on the last Waltz tribute, which is also a great thing. We had a band come in and all kinds of special guests recreating the band's last waltz. We've had Del McCoury and David Grisman here, legends of bluegrass, just titans. We've had last year the 49 Winchester was here. I love that band, and they've got a new one coming out this summer, and they're going through the moon in popularity, traveling the world. And we had them right here on Main Street, New Martinsville. You know, Melvin Seals, Jerry Garcia band, Sam Bush, so many. And you know, the best part is that every year there's somebody that I see that I didn't know a lot about before that I leave a fan of. Like, for instance, 7:30 this year on Friday night, Sierra Hall's going to be on Main Street, New Martinsville. She's been crowned like 4 times IBMA Mandolin Player of the Year. One of the best mandolin players in the world is going to be here this year, and I can't wait for that. So those are some of my favorites. And there's probably somebody I could tell you later, but off the top of my head, you know, Billy Strings, 49 Winchester, Sam Bush, Del McCoury, all those guys have been on Main Street in New Martinsville, which if you would have told me that when I was 17-year-old Josh, I would have said you're crazy.
Wow. What about you, Robbie? What would you say is a couple acts that really stood out over the test of time, things that you will always take with you, that you're super proud that you were able to bring to your town?
I mean, all the acts he named for sure. I got to be on stage and play with the Allman Betts band.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, all those acts he named. My favorite story from all the back homes is when David Grisman arrived on his tour bus, and I said, you know, how I was introduced to him or whatever, and I said, Mr. Grisman, you know, it's just such an honor to have you here in our town. I grew up listening to you know, your recordings with Jerry Garcia, and I couldn't be more tickled to have you here. And he thanked me, and I said, I'm really looking forward to your set tonight. And he looked at me just as deadpan as can be. And he said, wait a minute, you're expecting me to play tonight? and I thought that was pretty funny. So I love that story.
Oh, that's
what a nice guy he was.
To
and
circle,
that's the thing too. All these acts, you know, that we brought in, a lot of these people, you know, they're legends, and I've yet to meet any of them that have not impressed me as human beings as well. And that's a testament to all these folks. So,
well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that my fellow friend / record store owner, Ryan and Kim Shiflett, they own Kraken Records, which is located on the main drag there, right next to that ice cream shop in downtown New Martinsville. And I'm sure they'll be open during the festival. I would be remiss if we didn't throw a shout out to them to make sure you guys go and check them out. It is nothing but love. I love those guys. They are wonderful people. They are doing an absolute bang up job in their first year. And any chance that I get to send some praise their way, I definitely will. If you're from our area, traveling up there, go and listen to some performances. When you need to get a little break from the crowd or maybe get some AC, hit up Kraken Records. It is definitely worth checking out, and you cannot find 2 cooler owners than that husband and wife pair.
Absolutely. And I know they've been stocking up on the acts that are coming into town. And
smart.
That, you know, they have an album, and I saw a Big Brother and the Holding Company in there the other day. So they'll have some stuff. And he said there wasn't very much Keller Williams available, but I knew he had at least one there. So
Yeah, he doesn't have a
definitely
lot.
something.
He doesn't have a lot that's in print, and when he does, it's only like on his web store, and usually he autographs it, and it's like $50 a copy. He doesn't really do mass produced stuff that us vendors can get. But when you find it, you grab onto it because it holds its value because there's not that many made. So do yourself a service and check out the flyer. Go to backhomefestival.com, check out the flyer. And if you're not familiar with any of these bands, really do yourself a service and check out. So even the names that you may not have heard of, it all fits in the same vein. The whole weekend is going to be stellar. And definitely check out my boys, Oyo. They will be there. What day is Oyo playing?
Saturday at noon.
Yeah, Saturday.
They are excellent. They actually played when my store was, when we were still just an empty shell, there was nothing but me and an empty store. They out of nowhere just said, we'll play your store warming party, try to, raise some funds for you to help build your shelving, build your store. And they came in and made a performance, and we made enough money for me to be able to build my record shelves on the backs of their amazing performance and bringing in their audience, their crowd. So if you're an Oyo fan, you're not just supporting Oyo, you're supporting my store, you're supporting local music as a whole. So do you guys have anything else that you want to add before we sign off?
I'll steer everybody to Back Home Festival on Facebook. There's a lot of good conversation there, and anything that comes out, that's the more late breaking news place to get things. Back Home Festival on Facebook, and I really hope you guys will come. It's a nice little town. It's a great festival, and it's even better when you were there to share it with us. So come on down to New Martinsville this summer. We hope it's the biggest and best yet.
All right, Robbie, Josh, everybody involved in the New Martinsville Back Home Festival, June 28th, 29th, and 30th. And prices. We didn't talk prices. You can get into this festival and do the whole weekend for just $25. That is unheard of for a weekend festival full of amazing bands and cheap beer. Didn't talk about the cheap beer either. So we have to throw the plugs in for that. And if you just want a day pass, they're $10 a piece. But backhomefestival.com, and their socials are Back Home Festival on Facebook. Check them out. Josh and Robbie, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to throw it back to the studio, and y'all have a great day, and make sure to see me at the festival this year.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yep. Y'all have a great one. And there you have it, folks. That'll wrap up this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been your host, Aaron White at First City Records and the First City Podcast. Remember to check us out. Next week, we're sitting down with the band Firehouse, and I'll have Jake Dunn of Jake Dunn and the Blackbirds in the studio for an acoustic performance and a great interview. I'm looking forward to having him over, and we will see you all then. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all stay safe. Come and see me at First City Records. Y'all have a great one. Take care. Now, bye-bye then.